Remember the Honda CRX?
Yeah?
That high-revving machine? Double cam or one slammer?
Yeah?
Guess what? We're making another! It's a hybrid!
Huh?
And a CVT!
What?
And an engine like the one from the Honda Fit!
Is this a prank?
Fake back seats!
Your wife fakes.
Poor rear visibility!
I visually know the difference.
Electric-assisted steering!
She doesn't need electric assist with me.
Remember the CRX?
I remember how I felt when you started talking.
This was a hit in Japan!
Want to watch Bible Black with me?
Kids like JDM!
Ever get pegged?
It's efficient and fun!
So's pegging.
Want to buy one?
Want to buy this drawing I made of your wife? She has a knot and a median ring now.
The original CRX was raw and chaotic. Lightweight, unsafe, thrilling, and fun. Slow, yes, but it made an enthusiast growl and revved as high as you dared to push it. The CRZ is soft, lethargic, safe, and when you put your foot down, it makes a noise like a high school freshman being told he can't go to the bathroom. What a deplorable engine sound. The Honda CRZ is a bigger waste of time than busting to Tub Girl just to prove you could. This car is chasing the CRX like a frat house legacy. He doesn't live up to Big Brother Troy, so now he's going to wrap an entire personality around getting absolutely launched on some nightmare spinach. Congratulations on surrounding yourself with professional excuse makers with the vocabulary of a TikTok comment section. Look at this car. Look at it. It supposedly got a refresh in 2016, the last year of the model's existence, and if this counts as a facelift, I'll tell the surgeon to put the face back down. This has the look of a man who trusted a fart that betrayed him. It's got 0 passengers in the back, and a driver up front rocking that Honda Brolane because it has a roofline lower than an alligator's nuts. Honda CRZ, the car you have when your side chick is saved on your phone as Scam Likely. Honda said the name is short for Compact Renaissance Zero because they're bringing back the compact car by making an, air quotes, a sports car without guilt. Because it's a hybrid with low emissions. Yes, that's true. And it's probably the best thing it has going for it, but even then, with an asterisk. It's a hybrid, but it can only do 35 city and 39 highway. But that's less than the 1988 CRX that inspired this. That thing can get 41 city and 49 highway. And then there was the Honda Civic EH2, which could get 50. Toyota's Echo and Yaris manuals could get 44 miles per gallon. And Honda Fit, which has the same family of engines that this does, could also touch 40 miles per gallon if driven responsibly. So, no back seats, less fun, a higher price, and no fuel savings as compared to an ICE-only car. And it's not a CRX. Honda CRZ. The Jack Reacher of sports compacts. CRZ, the official car of busting before you open a second browser tab. CRZ, brought to you by...
Actually, it's a hybrid, but it works in reverse method as compared to a Toyota Prius. Actually, it's the spiritual successor to a car you probably never heard of.
My name's Jake. I'm 6'1", and I have to be as uncomfortable as possible because you live in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
You live in Brooklyn. So you get to tell everybody how special your car is. Because no one there has cars, which makes you King Dick because you got a car in Brooklyn. How do you street park this in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Wow, it's not smashed in on the side. That's pretty cool.
That's baller.
Do you live in Williamsburg?
No.
Okay.
Actually, tape cassettes can sound as good as CDs if you have a metal cassette and a player that can read it, and speakers with the correct dynamic range. Actually, the CRZ came with back seats in Japan, but the max cargo weight was meant for slimmer customers from Japan. But 2 Americans weigh the same as 4 Japanese, so no back seats. Actually, I have the ability to purr. Actually, The rear seatbelt mounts are still there, so that's why the rear cabin lights are there. Actually, you prime the electric motor with this button. Actually, I broke the Marble Madness speedrun first, but the VHS tape was corrupted.
I do, yeah. Me personally, like, that's part of the reason why I was like, oh, here, let me show you this. So, like, the orange on black and in the trim on the door panels, like, I love, this is sexy as hell because I love contrast. I love contrast. It's something that's just so distinct.
All I see is that these are gonna get browner as you fart into them, and you made a different, no, what's gonna happen? Okay, that's fabric, fine, that's vinyl, this is gonna crack, and then Gorilla Tape over it, and then eventually you're gonna pay more than the car's worth to have the seats reupholstered.
Well, let me tell you, I was on the John last night after having some old meatballs I probably shouldn't have had. And it was absolutely World War Brown in there. I had to take my shirt off and everything. I was fighting for my life. It would have been so much easier for me personally if I knew that, it's a comfort to know that even when you're in the bathroom fighting for your life, you know that at any point you can come out here and have a car that is that comfortable and looks that good. And
what are you talking about?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I felt like there was a point to this story when I started.
My name's Jake. I use the pen holder. I have the dedicated pen in my CRZ. Remember the 90s? My name's Jake, and Jake less than. The engine here is the 1.5-liter LEA inline-4, utilizing the integrated motor assist technology. This was first introduced with the Honda Insight back in 1999. That thing could get, actually, some people could get 60 miles per gallon with the original Honda Insight. So just like that car, it makes an Oreo out of the drivetrain. So you have the engine and transmission, and then the electric motor as the cream in the middle so it can balance the engine and keep the traction more in line. For the first 2 years, this thing had nickel metal hydride, NIMH batteries, nickel metal hydride. You know those? They're like the batteries you mistakenly buy on Amazon, thinking you're getting the lithium ion. Nope, you get an NIMH. Congratulations, you can put this in your power drill, and it's going to be dead before the end of the podcast.
Actually, it got lithium-ion batteries shortly after. It was after the first 2 years.
Between the gasoline and electric motors, power ratings are somewhere between 121 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 123 and 128 pound-feet of torque at 1,000 to 1,500 RPM. The only prayer the CRZ had was a manual transmission. You could get it in a manual, and that gave you access to the optional supercharger add-on, which would give you up to 200 horsepower, but the CVT can't handle the supercharger. Oh, but we get the Plus Sport system. This S Plus button gives you more power by priming the motor with that. What does that mean? It's like a guy telling his girlfriend how close he's getting. But there's no real difference between just mashing the accelerator. How mashing the accelerator will probably last you longer. You have to have above 30% charge in the battery, and then you hold this button down, and then you get a little bit more acceleration for 5 seconds. Oh, excuse me, up to 5 seconds. A Honda CRZ is a guy who shakes your hand, looks you right in the eye, calls you sir, and then gives your daughter chlamydia. Now, despite being tall himself, Jake
actually prefers smaller cars because he lives in a city, he lives in Brooklyn.
He also likes cars that are a bit off the beaten path. He had a Honda Fit. Those things are great, but he didn't like it. Then he found this car just 11,500 miles due to having been at a dealer. It was a dealer demo car previously. Now it sits at 2,100 miles, and despite his height, Jake says he's comfortable in this. But first he had to make alterations. He's so tall, he had to take off the rear view mirror, which I guess is legal, as long as you still have your side mirrors. And then he's got this parabolic mirror up here, so he can see traffic lights. Otherwise, he'd have to do that lean way down so he could look up at traffic lights. But with this, parabolic lens here, it's not a mirror, it's a lens. He could park under the traffic light like normal and still see up what the color is. Honda boasted about the one-motion wedge body that improves aerodynamics. The press release for the US launch talks about the wide-track short wheelbase and performance-oriented suspension, and the low aggressive stance. The interior cockpit is fashioned around a high-tech coupe style
And uses premium quality materials.
while also providing useful space for storage of everyday items. Oh yeah, tons of room. Check out that North American back seat that doesn't exist. Check out this face that says, "I look fast." The brochure pumps this up like old BK sneakers. Boasting an edgier, more chiseled look, the redesigned front end features sharp character lines that flow from the sheetwork and terminate in an angular 8-point polygon grille. A sharp blade-like front diffuser sweeps up from the center and dissects the front corners to form triangular foglight wells that create a wider look and feature prominent lower aero sills. The aggressive stance is created by the front-end contours along the CRZ sides with flared full-length side garnishes that create a planted and suck-to-the-tarmac look. Complemented by new swept 5-spoke design alloy wheels, the upward sweeping aero features of the front are mirrored at the rear, pushing the exit pod design elements to the sides for a wider-looking stance.
I can bust without blinking.
It aimed for exotic, but landing in the rolling fields of abject defiance, where a fresh harvest of middle fingers sways in the wind, facing the sun, refusing to submit fully to aggressive design, but also embracing a low stance and wide berth, rejecting daddy, but praying for an attaboy. They say never meet your heroes, but what are heroes but the people we most want to be proud of us? You noticed I hardly talked about how it drove. It's any other Honda you've ever been in. It drives like a smaller Accord, somewhere between a Civic and an Accord. It's darty a little, and it sways a lot. The suspension has a lot of travel, but very little dampening. It crashes and bounces, and it is not a sports car. The only bone I can throw the CRZ is maybe after 10 more years, this will become collectible. Collectible in an original Game Boy way, or maybe a Sega Game Gear. It's happened before. Subaru Baja. The Subaru Baja was rejected, and now it's embraced. I'll see you all in 2032.